Good evening, everybody. Um, my name is Corey. For those of you that don't know, I think most of the subscribers I had before were from the Discord, from the Retire on Dividends Discord. I do help out in there, and we have lots of discussions and everything. But I think I got a lot of new subscribers today because Retire on Dividends mentioned in his video this morning about my channel. So, just to let you know, I've only been covering these for like the last week, as I've been slowly building some of my spreadsheets and products and stuff. Unfortunately, I usually don't share things until they're perfect, and then of course they still don't end up not being perfect, and I make adjustments. But yes, you can always make suggestions for any of my things. And like I said, this is new, so I'm adjusting here and there as I see things need to be done. But anyway, just to let you know, for those of you that haven't seen my videos before, I'm going to go through the intraday trades that happened, and then we'll just do a review of the ETF and stock prices, and just a recap of our synthetic and weekly call strike prices. Now, there is a lot of other data on here. You see, here we'll have our treasuries, we'll have the cost, we'll have the shares and the prices. All that data is here. I don't normally read these off unless there's something significant, but you can always stop and pause the video or screenshot it or whatever you want to do to capture all this. But I don't usually read every single line on here. Same thing with the trades here. I have built this and spell it out in here if these are the synthetics or weeklies or the calls, puts. If this is if we're buying or selling or opening and closing, and and this comes from the codes that they post. Most of the time that they're accurate when we pull the data. But I don't necessarily, again, read every single line here, but the data is here. So I try to dumb it down for myself, but hopefully this will also help others, because I am not an options person. I honestly, fairly new to the stock market itself, and I've been, I guess, in the Yieldmax funds at least since last August. So I'm very grateful to Mark with Retire on Dividend. He has done a lot for everybody in the community, and it's great. And so, for those of you that might have just heard about my channel this morning from Retire on Dividends, you might not be in the Discord. Well, I assume most of you are probably not in the Discord. So, I would suggest, if you're not, though, on Retire on Dividends page, he has a link to the Discord. I just suggest you join that so you can have conversations and questions and stuff throughout there. We talk about all kinds of different things. It's not just Yieldmax. We talk about a lot of other ETFs. We also even talk about minor accounts, retirement planning, all kinds of things in there. The last time I checked, we had over 1,000 subscribers. I haven't checked in a while, so I'm not sure where we're at. But please come and join us. But anyway, sorry about all of that. I will just go ahead and get started here so we can get through this, and y'all can get on with your night or your morning. So we'll start here. All of these are in alphabetical order, just in case you're not wanting to look at some of these. But we'll start off with AIYY. Of course, you can see we have no intraday trades here. So if we just go over to the holdings, we can see that it closed, AIYY closed at 1768 today, and AI actually closed at $30.10. $30.10. I believe it started somewhere around $28 or so, but it was slowly went up most of the day. So I can't remember if there was a specific catalyst or not that had it moving. But anyway, The max strike price is $31, which is our only weekly call strike price. So we're about 90 cents away from that. And then, as you can see, we have our synthetic prices that are at $30. So we will move on to AMDY. And again, like I did yesterday, I've already gone through and sort of highlighted some of the things to help point out, something that may be different. So if you see here, we have our first two lines that are synthetic call put with our strike price of 180. All they did here was just add 105 contracts to the synthetic we already have. And on the third line, the same thing. They took 105 contracts and added it to the synthetic strike price of 182.50. And before I move on, just to show you have your trade cost in the right hand column. And so they actually had a profit of these trades of 36,000. But if we go over here to the holdings, you can see that 182.50 strike price. It has over a thousand contracts there, and you see we just added 105 to that. So all we did was add to that position there. So we'll just go over here. We have AMDY, which closed at 22.47 today, and AMD closed at 178. So we have two strike prices over here. We have 182.50 and 185. Let's see, we're about $7 from the max strike price there, and that puts us about $4.50 from our other strike price. So we'll move on to AMZY. Let's see, we did not have any trades on there for today. So if we go over the holdings here, I almost forgot to scroll there. AMZ closed at 23.01 today, and Amazon itself closed at 173.54. We have two weekly strike prices. We have the $175 strike price and the $177.50. So we're almost $4 from the $177.50 strike price, and we're roughly $1.50 away from the $175. And our shares, they're roughly split there between those two. And then, of course, we have our synthetics there that are $160. So if we move on, we will go to Aptly. So we did have some trades here today. You see we have 80 contracts there. So they added to the synthetic call put, the first two lines, the strike price that we already had at 190. And then they opened up a weekly call that, of course, will expire on Friday. And they opened this one up at $182.50 for those 80 contracts. Overall, with these trades, they earned 76,400 there. If we go on over here to Aptly, you see that 182.50 strike price with those 80 contracts. You'll see that new line there. And then we already had the 185 strike price for 2,845 contracts. So if we look over here, Aptly, it closed at 18.23. Apple closed at 182.63, and we are actually over. If we were 182.63, our brand new weekly call strike price of 182.50, we're already over it. The markets did start going up actually they went up most of the day, but in the afternoon hours, I believe it was also going up from what I was hearing on my podcast that I was listening to today while I work. But yeah, we're already over that one, so we're about $2.37 away from our other strike price. So we'll see how that goes for us the rest of this week. We'll move on to Coney, of course, for more detailed view of Coney. You will see that with retire on dividends. But here they actually ended up closing out 550 contracts on the synthetic and the weekly call there. Um, that expires this week, and it ended up actually costing them $423,500 to close those 550 contracts. So if you go over here, though, we still have a lot left. You can see we have the 2 weekly call positions. We have 9,000 something at the 177.50, and we have almost 9,000 contracts at the strike price of 185. However, if we look over to the left, we have Coney that closed at 23.86, and Coin itself closed at 199.22. And if I recall correctly, Coney even went up to $207, I believe, in the early hours of the day. And then I think at some point it just sort of hovered back and forth between like 196 and 200 or something. So I'm not sure what they're going to do with those contracts, but anyway, you can see we're maxed out here as our highest weekly call strike price is 185. So we're $15 or a little over $14 past that strike price. Of course, most of you follow Rod. You know that this is nothing new. This happens a lot. So we'll just see how things go for the rest of the week on that one. In the end, sorry about that, and sorry for the scrolling. I forgot I need to tap it to check. Sorry, Sheets. I'm not a huge Sheets person, but we do what we got to do, right? It makes it easier for us to work. If we go on to Disney, we see we've added 55 contracts to the synthetic call and put there at 110 strike prices, and we also added to our weekly call strike price of 110. So overall, they brought in almost $7,000 on these trades. And we'll move on over here, and you can see those synthetics 110. And then we had our weekly at 110, but we also have a weekly call strike price of $109. If we look over to the left, though, we have Disney or Dizzo at 21.87, and Disney closed at 109.42. So you can see we are 42 cents over our first strike price, and therefore we're only 58 cents from our second strike price. I don't know if how Disney has even moved this weekend, or this week, I'm sorry. But hopefully we'll slowly go down, or we'll go down a little bit before the end of the week there. So we will go ahead and we're going to move on to Meta. Let's see. So we didn't have any trades there for Meta. So we'll just review the holdings here. FBY closed at 23.32. Meta closed at 487.05. And so we have two strike prices here. We have 500 and 505. So with our max strike price there, we're about $18 from it. So we're about $13 from our other strike price. And again, I didn't really hear a lot about them today. However, Google did have some trades here. They added 100 contracts to the synthetic at that $150 strike price. And then you see we have a new weekly call at $140 strike price there. So overall trades totaling, brought in $119,400 there for today. And to go over our holdings, GUI closed at 16.69. Google closed at 138.88. And so you see that new strike price that they just opened, the 140. So we're only a little over a dollar from that. And then we have 146 and 147. So you see most of our contracts are at that 146 and 147. So to that max strike price, we're $8 and 12 cents away. And then, of course, it'd be $7.12 to the other one. So we're a little ways away. And I think Google or Alphabet, whatever you want to call them, earlier this week they were even down to 136. I think they did come up to around 140 maybe today and then drop back down a little bit. I know I bought a couple of shares today. But anyway, we will move on to JPMO. And it looks like we didn't have any trades there. In fact, we won't have trades again until we get to Misty. So I'll just scroll there and we'll go over here. So JPMO, if you were, for those of you that have been watching the past few days, remember we had that extra line up there that I thought was an issue, and then we showed yesterday that it was still there, but the shares had zeroed out and the market value zeroed out, and today it is gone. So luckily, they fixed that issue, and I didn't need to reach out to them and, ask any questions or what was going on there. But that's been cleared up, so we're good to go there now. So JPMO ended up closing at $21.10 today. It's interesting here because the NAV for this one says it's $20.95. So the difference there is 15 cents. Usually it's only a few cents. So that's quite a bit more than normal. JPM closed at 183.45. And if we look over to the right, we have two weekly calls. We have one at the strike price of 185. We got 100 contracts, and we have 187 with 360 contracts. So we are $1.50 away from our 185 strike price and about $4 away from our 187.50 strike price. This one don't look too bad. It shows our weekly call value is only negative 10,000, so that's not too bad either. So looking pretty decent there. So I'll move on down to Murney. It closed at $20.21. I do believe that is up because I believe Moderna, which closed at $96.20 today, I think it was down at like $93 before open. But we look here, we only have one weekly call, and its strike price is $100. So we're $3.80 from that. And I'm sorry, I haven't been mentioning the synthetic strikes. I think I did it for the first couple, but you can see that on here. The two that are marked synthetic, that's the call put, so that's $105 for Moderna. So we'll go ahead and move down to MSFO. So it ended up closing at $22.60 today, and Microsoft closed at $407.48. We only have one weekly call, which is at $417.50. And as you can see here, we are $10.02 away from that strike price. And our weekly call value on this one's pretty low too. We're at like negative 30,000 there so far. And then we have Misty. It ended up closing at $23.28. I think I reported this yesterday. There was a story. I didn't read it. I just heard it on my podcast about, I guess they ended up investing a lot more in Bitcoin. And of course, as most of you probably already know, I think, Bitcoin's up somewhere around 57,000, I believe it is. So this is sort of going up with Bitcoin, just like Coney is and stuff. So anyway, sorry about that. So we go to MicroStrategy there. It ended up closing at 871.80. And you know what? This one had trades. I'm sorry. Let me go over to that one. I feel like I had skipped a bunch. No, we went through those pretty quickly. Okay, so MSTY, so they ended up having 10 contracts. So they added to the synthetic call and put that they already had that 680 strike price. But then they did open up a new position. So they have a weekly call with a strike price of $1,000. So these trades, if you see that one call at the 680 cost $212.80 a share. So in all, these trades ended up costing $185,600 for those 10 contracts. So interesting. We have a really expensive one there. So we move over here. You can see we have our original 37 contracts at 755 strike price. Of course, we're at 871.80 right this second. So man, that was our original strike. So we're 100 and I'm not even trying to do this math right now. 118, 19, something like that dollars over. And then if we look at our next strike price, 895, we're about $23 from that strike price. And then our brand new one today opened up with a strike price of $1,000. I guess they figured they were going to shoot for the moon, right? I mean, it already surpassed the other ones, and I don't even remember where MicroStrategy was earlier this week. But anyway, so that $1,000 strike price, as you can see here, we're $128.20 away from that. So we will see. Let's see what was after that. So we do have some trades here. So we have Nestle here and added to this synthetic call put at that 585 strike price for 15 contracts. And then they opened a new weekly call for $615 for 15. For 15 contracts. So in total, it costs $23,400 for those trades. So if we go over here, we can see now we have three different strike prices there. We have $595, $600, and $615. And so before I forget, so Nestle ended up closing at $18.94 today. And then you have Netflix ended up closing at $601.67. So we're already past the two original strike prices there, the $595 and $600. So the only one we haven't passed is the brand new one that we just opened. That's $615, right? Yep. So we are $13.33 from that strike price. So it looks like on a lot of these, we just need the market to go down just a tiny bit before the end of the week to help make some extra income on these. But we'll move on to NVIDIA. We know we had some trades on that one. And let me just scroll. Okay, so then we have Zomo. Okay. So NVIDIA here, they added to the synthetic 30 contracts with that 710 strike price. And then they opened up a new position for a weekly call of $815. Ooh, sorry about that. All this talking. So they opened up that $815 weekly call strike price for those 30 contracts. But the overall trades ended up costing almost $234,000. If we go over to the holdings, let's see, that one was $815. So we have $815. We already had $810. And we had $825, we had $835. So we have four different weekly call strike prices there, all, within, let's say, $10 from each other. So, and you see over here, NVIDIA, it ended up closing at $28.99, so we're still up pretty high. NVIDIA was $787.01. So I see it's NVIDIA price is actually going down, so that's why when they're purchasing new weekly calls, they're doing them at those lower strike prices to get closer to the actual NVIDIA price. So we can see over here though, so we're at 13, we're $23 to the first strike price, and we're about $48 to our max strike price there, which is also where most of our contracts are at the 2,750. So we'll move on to OARC. As we saw, there was no trades on the other one, on the other tab. We don't have trades again until Zomo. So we'll just go over OARC. It ended at 13.43 today. ARC closed at 51.54, and our weekly strike price was $50.50. So we are over the strike price by $1. So you see there on the difference, I have that this is maxed out. So we'll see how things continue with that one. So if we move on down to PayPay, yes, I call it PayPay. I figure it makes more sense to me anyway. So it closed at 18.32, and PayPal, so it actually went up some today. It closed at $60.16. So we only have one weekly cost, and its strike price is $61. So we're 84 cents from that. If we go down to SQY, it closed at 23.24, and Block closed at 77.71, and our weekly call strike price is $84. So we are $6.29 from that strike price. If we move on down to Tesla, it closed at 18.59, though I do recall seeing it even like up to 18.70 or something today, I do believe, which Tesla closed at 199.73, but I'm pretty sure that it was up to like $202 at one point today, so it just kept going a little bit up and a little bit down. But we only have one weekly call for this, and it's a 200 strike price, which is the same thing as last week. We have 42,000 contracts. And for this one, we do have two different synthetic prices, so we have 185 and 220. So as you can see over here, we're 27 cents from that strike price. But we'll probably be somewhere around there this week. I'm just hoping it doesn't decide it wants to break out, because I have thought that a couple of times this week when I've looked at it. I have not looked at it this evening, so I'm not really sure how it ended up looking there. But, surprise, for Zomo, we actually have a different strike price, and it's out of the money. For any of those of you that have been in this one has been like one of the most frustrating for me. But anyway, so just to go through this, the synthetic call put, they added 40 contracts to that 100 strike price, and then they opened up a new position. However, this one is different than all the rest of them. For Zomo, they do not expire this week. They did them 2 weeks out. So these will not expire until next Friday on March 7th. So that's roughly 10 days from now. But anyway, so that one's at a strike price of 107. These trades cost 17,520. And you see we don't have any trades there for that YMAX and YMAG. So we're going to go back over here. And so Zomo here, it ended up closing at 17.53 today. And then Exxon ended up closing at 104.03. So we still have that 103 strike price. Of course, we're over it by $1.03 for those 1,000-something contracts, but now we have the new weekly at $107, and we're $3 from that for the 40 contracts only. And then, of course, as you saw, there was no trades for YMAG or YMAX, but YMAG closed today at $20.64, and YMAX closed at $21.18. And a lot of these are really close. So this other tab I haven't shown y'all before. I didn't even have it prepped to like show you, but I will say today there was 5 of these that were maxed out. Obviously, they're not now because some of these opened new trades or whatever, but like over here in column Q, I have the max strike price, which you could see on the other ones. Of course, this doesn't give you the full picture, right? Because we have multiple strike prices, they have different contracts and whatever, but this is just to give me a quick view. But Coin, Exxon, ARC, Netflix, and Tesla, at one point today, all 5 of them were maxed out. They were past their strike prices. And actually, I still have this filtered in order. Of course, now they've changed, but I had this filtered or sorted, not filtered, by the difference so I could see how far off. And those 5 at the top were the ones. Sorry about that. Those 5 at the one. Those 5 at the top were the ones that were maxed out. So yeah, I have this tab. Like I said, I haven't showed y'all before, just to give you a glimpse over it. It may or may not be something y'all would want to see. I just use it if I didn't want to look very quickly. But over on the left in the yellow, it's just the NAV and the current stock price and like the difference. Let's see. Let's do this. Let me do the one I have it already copied and pasted without the formulas. Because I'd do that, otherwise you lose the data every day, right? So we have so that's our close as today, and this is just the difference between the NAV and the current. So this is what you see on that other tab, and this one's just a ranking on them, so there's nothing really big there. And then of course, and I have the orange here. This is just so I can look like where did we close yesterday and where are we at now, which in this case it's where we closed today, so I can see the difference. And in column O here, I can see the change. So if I want to do that, I can see that Amazon, Nvidia, Exxon, and Microsoft all went down a little bit. And then I can see the most one we have down here is MicroStrategy. Look, it ended up yesterday, it was under 100, so it jumped like $80 today. And you can see here, like I was talking about, AI yesterday was at 28.90, and the end of the day was at 30. But these are just little things. I have stuff like this built everywhere. It's like, ooh, maybe I want to do this and I want to do that, and I want to look at it 10 different ways. And then they just start looking really ugly like this does in all the colors, and it's usually not something I want to share, but it's definitely something I want to use. But I'd have to clean it up usually to be able to share things like that. But then these, again, this is just a ranking, but if I sort it by change, it doesn't matter. But this is how I did for the day. And then this section just brings in that data where it has, the weekly values and the synthetic values, looking at the holdings, and then just the total. So I can just sort of see what we look like. And then I have it by share. Again, I may keep it, I may not, but it's here for now. So yeah, I've just built different things. And then I had the net assets and shares outstanding there. I just had them hidden. This other one's a test thing, so I'm not going to open it. And then this one right here is just to show me the cost of the, bring over all those intraday costs that we talked about. And I've got them broken down because I plan to use this later. But again, I'm slowly building this. And then just to let you know, so I know I was asked at least a few days ago if I was going to make an estimate or give a guess on what I thought the distributions will be, and that's going to be a no for me for this month at least, because even though I started building this worksheet a while back, I just started doing videos this past week, or past week or two, but I don't necessarily, I'm trying to go back and gather some data, but I didn't necessarily save this data every single day that I was building things. And you see things have changed totally from when I was originally doing it, because again, I was slowly building these things and how I wanted to see them. But I just don't have all the data. And, it'll be fun next month if I can continue doing these videos, if people continue to want them to be able to see all of these trades and stuff, then I can continue doing them. I know there's been a few comments of people liking it. I know some people dislike my videos, and that's fine too. It may just not be what they're looking for. It's not as fancy, or, whatever. Again, this is a very specific audience for a very specific purpose. But if I can continue tracking these this next month, I will do a estimate or a guesstimate on the distribution based off of the data from that month. But it's also one of those things to keep in mind. One, I don't have the historical data since these funds started, right? Two, they can pay out whatever they want. They could pay out return to capital even if they didn't make money. But I do think that it would be fun to try to, you know, to guess. And then, of course, the first time I'll do it, I'll get an idea of how close I am or not. Just like I did with the Yieldmax and YMAG. I had it pretty right. My data, though, was like one day off because I didn't save it. So, I didn't save, so my formula is just overwrote. But anyway, I'm just babbling on now. But I just, again, thank you for all the new subscribers. Again, hopefully this has been useful. And then if you have any suggestions or if you have other things, just let me know, and I will see what I can do or if I can do, and we'll go from there. But anyway, everybody have a great day, and have a great day either this evening or tomorrow. And thank you for all the birthday wishes for my daughter yesterday.